I'm so glad you're here. Before we get started, I just wanted to mention that this episode does include a fairly detailed mention of suicidal ideation. Please take good care while listening. For more than 2 decades, I have written in a diary almost every single day. And guess what? I saved them all. Each week, I will be reading from these archives and getting to know myself from the lens of my 10, 16, 25, and 36-year-old self. We'll explore big topics such as body image, queerness, divorce, addiction, mental health, and friendship. I'll read cringy poems and attempt to find compassion for the painful tenderness of my younger self. Join the drama of me and my guests as we explore our boy-crazy, closeted, angsty selves, one stupid page at a time. Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Angsty Pod. I am currently wishing that I would have planned what I was going to say for this intro, but my brain is not really on it today. Today is my first day back to work after about 10 days off. I had a little holiday staycation, well, half staycation and half camping. It was wonderful and magical and overwhelming and hard. It's left me with some increased anxiety for an upcoming trip that I have. I can't recall if I've shared this on the podcast or not, but I am going to be traveling to India in January. This is a surprise trip, so if you're a listener and you know my boyfriend's family, please don't tell them. I highly doubt that's anyone, but just in case, thought I'd mention it. So yes, I will be traveling to India in January. I'll be gone for about 4 weeks. And every time I think about going to India, I mean, if I'm being honest, I feel really, really, really excited. It's somewhere that I've always dreamed of going since I was a child. I've had a few opportunities to go in my life, and it just has never panned out. And I feel a deep spiritual connection to Indian people, Indian culture, Indian food, Indian clothing, all the things. And I finally have a beautiful opportunity to go, and we're going to go surprise Shiva's parents. And I'm so looking forward to it. And also, every time I think about it, I feel really, really nervous. And a couple things happened during this week off that made me even more nervous, because I'm realizing the older I get, the more life experience I have, the more introverted I become. And I used to be a person who could be in huge crowds, and I mean, like a lot of people, I think, especially a lot of addicts, alcoholics, anytime I was in a social setting, I was usually drunk and high, so I didn't really have to feel my anxiety, but now I have to feel it all, and the amount of anxiety that I have in those situations is pretty staggering. So going to India, which is a very densely populated place, a very different place from where I'm from. So I'm just feeling really nervous. And if any of you all have been to India and have any positive stories to share, or if you have some travel tips about traveling to a place that's very hectic and busy, I would just love to hear those tips. So throw them my way. But otherwise, I'm feeling pretty okay. I had a big cry last night looking through some pictures of Naui. Today marks 3 months since the day she died. Wow. Just saying that actually got me choked up a little bit. So yeah, I miss her like crazy. I've been finding myself just really missing. When she first died, I missed her presence a lot in the house. I missed her, you know, her being next to me. I missed waking up and greeting her. I missed when she would greet me, whenever I got home. But now I have this missing of her body. Like, I miss her, the weight of her. I miss the way her fur felt. I miss the way her nose felt. And it feels really tangible. The feeling of her, and also the grief of not being able to actually reach out and touch her. And I'm sure my grief will change and morph again, but for now I'm feeling a little bit tender today. I'm feeling a little bit tender and kind of, honestly, a little bit unprepared to read this diary just based on the first entry. So I think today's episode is going to be, I don't know what it's going to be, everybody. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'll make sure to give some content notes if there are any. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's hop right in. Alright, so where we left off was in December of 2004. And this is December 4th, so we're in early December. December 4th, 2004. I stayed home from school on Friday, spent the entire day cleaning up for Omi and Opie to arrive. Gurnt called me in the afternoon and asked what I was doing. This, I think, is like just telling about, I guess, my what was going on at home. Usually a child is not responsible. I mean, I'm definitely a teenager at this point, but usually a child is not responsible for tidying up the house for a visitor, and not entirely responsible, but at that time my mom was traveling for work a lot, and when she was home she was so depressed she really didn't leave her room, and my dad was completely hiding out in the basement. I don't know where my sister was, but I felt very responsible for keeping things in order at home. It was a huge weight on me, for sure. I continue and say, then at 7, after I went to work, 8, and chilled with Omi and Opie, I decided to go to Gurnt's. I was in a bad mood because we talked on the phone before I went, and he told me he had a contagious lip infection so that we couldn't kiss. Gross. But I went over, and we just went downstairs to watch a movie. It was going good, but he got sad after I told him not to touch me. But then I guess he couldn't resist, and we ended up fooling around for a long time. Everything was good until Brett came home drunk and talked to us for a bit. Brett is Gurnt's older brother. And then Gurnt got all sad for some reason and wouldn't tell me why. So I moved to the other side of the couch, and we sat there apart on the couch for a full hour. Oh my God, silent treatment for an hour. That's horrendous. He eventually moved closer to me, and I told him he was too late and got up and left. Well, I didn't leave. I sat on the stairs in his basement, and he eventually came down and sat with me and convinced me to go back upstairs and sit with him. He told me that earlier I gave Brett the same look that I gave him in the beginning. And then we talked for a long time and both agreed that we just want our relationship back. The one we always had fun, where we always had fun and got nervous of each other and just sat there and looked at each other and smiled. And I don't know how sometimes I feel like we are so close to ending. And then I always just warm up to him and we make everything okay again for a while. But either way, I got my kiss and it made every bad thing just go away. I love him so much. Okay, so just a little itty-bitty amount to unpack there. Okay, first of all, I'm sorry I said gross about a lip infection. I mean, I don't know if he had a cold sore or like what was going on. I can't really remember this incident. I meant gross that like he was going to pursue something with me, even though he had a cold sore, I think that that's very irresponsible. Thankfully, I did not catch his cold sore because we ended up kissing in the end. But really what this entry is about this sort of unhinged, unchecked jealousy. And also that little tiny note in there where I say, sometimes it feels like we're so close to ending. And I have written, you heard that in the last diary, and you're going to hear that get amped up because the drama between him and I has only just begun. The toxicity between us is about to blow up. So as things are blowing up in my relationship, things are blowing up at home. I guess, that's how it goes. Crazy begets crazy. December 13th, I write, I seem to have less time for everything lately, especially writing. Actually, especially my friends. I didn't go out this weekend to see the guys at all. Maybe that's because I had to work late, but it might have also been because I knew nobody would really want me there. Something that's been on my mind a lot lately is Dad. This broke my heart to read, by the way. I complain about a lot to Jenny and Mom how he hates me and never talks to me. Every time he picks me up from work, we are silent for a 30-minute car ride. I want to tell him all about my new job, and I want to ask what he's busy with in his. I want to discuss music and his youth and Gert and I, but I feel like he thinks I'm the stupidest person, and I feel like he doesn't want to be a part of my life at all, and I wish it was different. Everything is different, though. Everyone. Me too, I guess. But I see it so much in everyone else. And I miss my friends so much. I guess if I died tomorrow, I'd want them to know how much I miss them. I miss a lot of things now that I get into it. I'm not lonely a lot of the time because people have replaced the people I miss, like Jen and what does that name say? Oh, 12E. I don't know that. It was just this girl who looked super young, and so she looked like she was 12, so we called her 12E. Anyways, super weird. Have been replaced with Brett and his friends and the other Thorndale people. They've all been replaced, and they're all gone, but I miss them. Talking about all of this makes me sad, and the only thing that cheers me up are thinking of all these people who I hope are permanent. Genevieve, Katie, Chris, and I think Gert is. At least I hope so. It's been more than a year now since we started, and I really do feel the same way as I did in the beginning. I love his family and the life I have with him, and I guess I'm at the point where I'm really scared of not being with him, because if I wasn't, I don't know how I'd pick up my old life again, or if I'd even have enough pieces of my old life to pick myself up from. I don't feel like I'm missing out, but I'm worried that someday I will, and it's sad that I have no one to tell all this to. Holy guacamole, that is so sad. And I get it. That's deep and sad and deeply sad. About 10 days later, December 23rd, my mom's birthday, I say, I woke up late and gave Mom her birthday gift. I think she liked it. But then we got into a huge fight because I was driving and she yelled at me. So I got out and I told her to shut up and drive. When we got back here, she flipped out on me and I told her to get the fuck out of my room, and she just slammed on my door. So I turned up my music real loud. Can you imagine? Oh my God. We cooled off for a few hours and then talked. I don't know though. It didn't really upset me all that much, but I was just worried about how it would affect the next week off. So yes, obviously I had some time off from school for the holidays, and I didn't want to be at home. I didn't want to be interacting with my mom, who was, yelling at me and Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, things were getting pretty rough at home. Everyone was destabilized. I really felt like my dad just didn't want to be around me, didn't want anything to do with me. And I wasn't sure what I had done wrong. And I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I'm going to because I'm excited that I have asked my dad to come on and be a guest on this podcast. And I hope he says yes. And we can ask him. I'll ask him. What did I do wrong? No, I'm just kidding. But I would like to ask him like what he believes caused that big rift between us in my youth. In hindsight, I guess I believe that, well, there were two major things. One is like his marriage was crumbling, and I'm sure that was like heartbreaking and stressful. He watched my mom go from his lover and his partner to being a very mentally ill, manic person who worked a lot. And the other thing was like, I don't think my dad had any knowledge, skills, or support when it came to raising girls. And I think he really struggled with our like going from girls to women and like us being in puberty and all of a sudden like wanting like, having desire and being sexualized and I think he really struggled with that. But instead of like showing up as concern or ever communicating that, he just shut down. I'd like to ask him about that, and maybe I will. My dad and I talk about my past and our life together a lot. We talk about it often. We're always reminiscing. And I think he would say that like we were really hard to handle and really undisciplined, and that might be true. I was definitely a handful. But I also think that like what I desperately wanted actually was consistent care, and even if that meant boundaries and rules, I think in my heart of heart that's what I wanted. But of course, even if a teenager wants that, they still rebel against it, right? So I was very rebellious. And so my dad, I get the sense that he kind of, I guess, like gave up, which is hard. I get the sense that he kind of like gave up on parenting for a couple years there, really until my mom left. And then I guess my dad didn't really have a choice but to step in and try to be a parent again. But at that point, my sister and I were both, I was 18, my sister was 20, so there wasn't a lot of parenting left to be done, but which is exactly why my mom says she waited that long to leave the family, which I think both my parents believed was like the right thing. I don't think it was the right thing, but I have my own thoughts and opinions on that, which again, maybe that's something I'll get to talk to my dad about in the episode. But for now, I just feel really heartbroken by all this sadness that I'm reading in this entry. Yeah, really heartbreaking. A few days later, actually January 1st, ringing in the new year right. I fucking hate you, Mom. Sometimes I just do. Because you sit around doing jack shit, making your millions, pretending you're important, and then you go out and buy a bunch of crap that you think is important even though we have no room in this hellhole. And then I tell you that this place is a mess and that we don't need 3 fridges of groceries, and you cry and say it's all my fault that I yell at you and you make me feel bad. Well, Mom, here's news for you. When I leave, this is my reason. I hate your lifestyle and how you force everyone else to rot in it. I hate how you cry so everyone feels sorry for you all day. I hate all this crap you're putting us through. Everyone loves it when you're gone. Ooh, everyone loves how fucking blissful it is because it's clean and quiet, and when I wake up, I don't have to hear your voice bitching about something new, and I don't have to walk into my room and see in a sea of garbage, and it doesn't stink like Tuesday's dinner, and everything is better, and I never freak out or shake my head or give attitude. I'm sick of fighting with you because in my head I always win. I always win because I know I'm right, and everyone else does too. They see how you storm into my room and yell at me after I've told you the only thing I ever want is peace and quiet. When I come home from work, I don't want a million questions. When we just got in a fight with God knows who, I don't want to hear your stupid ass voice. ... I need some Coke. Oh my goodness. That's a tough one. Yeah, obviously I don't like reading that. It does inform, explain, give leads to the OCD that I developed as an adult. I think I had some tendencies as a child, but I really developed it as an adult. I have organizational OCD for sure, and some contamination stuff as well, and definitely lots of intrusive thoughts. But if you came into my home or my life, you would see aspects of that. And I mean, I think this entry kind of explains that. I'm not blaming my mother for my OCD, but I definitely learned how to feel a little trickle of control in an environment that felt very out of control. I learned that I could straighten my desk 100 times when things at home were really volatile to keep myself calm. And that's never gone away. And I've been through treatment for OCD twice, and it's never gone away. It's never really lessened. It's just changed from, I guess, more harmful methods to maybe less harmful. I don't know if that's even the words that I'd like to use, but yeah, it's a weird thing to reflect on, and I don't like the language that I've used in this entry at all, and I would never speak about somebody that way now, especially my own mother, but I wanted to share that because it really shows the angst and the heat of my house at that time. I'm gonna get back to the gurnt of it all here, because honestly reading this stuff about my parents is making me really sad. I don't know if I'll ever ask my mom if she wants to become a guest on the podcast. Maybe she would really enjoy it. I will say this. I will say that I am constantly under the awareness of my parents' mortality, and also their, what's the word I would use? I can see them both separately. My parents aren't together anymore, but separately, I can see them both putting some effort into repair. And I feel really lucky for that because I know that so many people who have been traumatized or wounded or hurt by their parents especially, they never get that chance for that repair. And I never thought I'd have that chance either. And I've seen examples of it with both my parents in the last, 5-10 years, especially in the last couple. I am committed and in some ways kind of desperate to heal my mother wound, to heal stuff with my mom before she leaves this earth. And I also am taking it slow because she has caused a lot of harm. And I'm also, I still struggle with those things that I wrote about in that entry. I struggle being in her environment because it's very messy, and my OCD stuff flares up like crazy, and I find sometimes we don't have a lot in common. We don't have a lot to really talk about, I guess. But I do feel committed to as much repair as possible, and however long that takes, I'm willing to do the work. And I think she is too. She hasn't explicitly said that to me, but you know what? I haven't explicitly said it to her either. So, and then stuff with my dad feels a little bit more, I don't think we're avoidant. I think, actually, finally, I think my dad and I have the kind of relationship where we really can talk about our feelings in like an open way. And my dad's really softened a lot in the last like decade, but especially in the last couple years. So I think some of the healing, I guess how I feel is like the healing with my dad has happened quite naturally and almost passively. And there's still work to be done, no doubt, but it's been done slowly and naturally. And I feel like some of the healing work with my mom is a lot more, has to be a lot more intentional and measured, and is a bit more intense. And maybe that's unfair, I don't know, but that's just how it is. So anyways, I'm going to move on. I'm sure I'll come back to them on another episode. And like I said, keep your ears out for the episode with my dad and maybe my mom, who knows. Maybe them both. No, just kidding. That would be not good. Okay, so getting back to Gert. So January 23rd, I write, "Last night was strange. I called Gert shortly after I was done writing, and I asked him if he wanted to go to Lou's, and surprise, surprise, he said no. At first I was mad, but then I realized, hey, he worked all day, he was tired, so I just told him to come pick me up. He was definitely reluctant. But then he came, and I didn't act mad at him, but I didn't act nice to him either. I was planning on going to Lou's later on anyways, after me and him hung out. We just hung out in his living room and watched the Terminator on TV. The Terminator. I felt sad, but I'm always sad on Saturday nights, though. It feels like I always have to make a choice. Do I hang out with Gert, or do I hang out with my friends? Then he convinced me to go downstairs and have sex. We were in his crawl space, the infamous crawl space where we got busted, on this little tiny mattress. He came fast, but it didn't matter because ... I love him. I can't even explain it all. Just how much I love him and how much I see it sometimes. What I mean is, sometimes when I think about it, I hear music in my head. And I see it on his face all the time. I went to Jay's last night. We all just hung out. Jer and I immediately sat together and talked. It was weird because we kept going outside and having these long talks together. He was hammered. Then me and Jer and Lou walked Jer home. I knew that I stayed for a while because I knew that Jay was bringing Gert and Fraser to Dairy Queen. I put in brackets, I can only imagine what they said about me. Okay. So me and Lou hung out. Lou, I can't remember how much I said about Lou on this podcast. He's a big, important person in my story. I will give a full background and stuff on Lou, but it wasn't abnormal at all for Lou and I to like hang out one-on-one. We used to do a lot of drugs together. And we had a deep friendship. So this is, I guess, where it gets a little strange. I said, so me and Lou hung out. Lou was very drunk. He was talking gibberish and didn't want me to go. He was fucked up. No. It was fucked up when he got to, I think it'd be cool if we just fell asleep together. I told him right then and there that I had to go, and I think he ran after me. But I kept running. And then when I showed up at Jay's, he told me that Gert had already gone home without me. It was a fucked up night that Gert was not even a part of. It was weird how cold he was all night. Anyways, Luke called me this morning to tell me he hated me for walking home. I was like, what the fuck? And tried to explain things to him, and I guess he doesn't hate me now, but he wanted to tell me, there's always a place for you in Thorndale. Walking home is a last resort. You're always welcome here. I don't know if that makes you uncomfortable, but you can always sleep here. And it makes me think, Lou was so worried about me walking home, and Gert just left me. That, dear listeners, is very complicated, layered. February 8th. Last night was awful. Yesterday was awful. My classes suck. After school, I went to Jay's because I had to pick up my bag, but he wasn't even home, so I went over to Katie's. We were sitting in her kitchen, making small talk, and I just blurted out, Katie, I'm unhappy. I told her about how Jenny is never home, how I never see my friends anymore, how I absolutely hate school, how alone I feel, and then we made dinner, and it was disgustingly normal. Okay, so I think I was doing a bid for connection there, and I don't say enough about the conversation, but it sounds like we didn't get to have the deep therapizing that I think I wanted. Anyways, I went back to Jay's to get my bag and ended up teaching Sam some guitar. I had a beer and then went to Gert's. They were eating dinner, and I told Gert about how I'd been to Katie's, and he told his parents, quote, that I hated her for stealing all my friends. I took him downstairs and told him I didn't like how he said that. Then he started saying how he 100% didn't understand me, and then we started talking about our friends and about Saturday night and about the fight we got into just the night before, and we both said mean stuff. I told him he was a good actor for acting like he cared about me. He told me he was seriously sick of my shit and to get out. I heard him smash something as I walked out. I had no idea where to go, so I walked to Fraser's, bawling, almost collapsing. My sister and Fraser were at the restaurant, and so I went in and told Genevieve everything. She helped for a while, but then insisted on walking me home. And so I pushed her, and she started to cry, and I told her that she was just like Mom, and then I left. I went back to Katie's and cried to her, and then her mom drove me home. When I came home, I seriously, for the first time ever, considered dying. Not to make anyone feel bad, but just to not be sad for just a little while. Super heavy, super dark. I can just feel how dysregulated I am, how desperate I am for someone to help me, to support me, to listen to me. And then anybody who offers me that, I push them away, I push them away, I push them away. The next entry is just, it says February 7th, late. And it just starts with, in case I don't make it in this life. And it's a list of people and my little note for them. To my sister, I say, please love everyone as much as you did when I was with you. Like, to Gert, I'm so sorry for everything. I never meant for you to meet this awful person inside of me. I'm so sorry it turned out this way. To Mom, please keep surviving and giving. I'm so sorry I caused your nightmare, but I needed out. Wow, realizing I really need to content note this with suicidal ideation, big time. I am in an absolute state. I write Gert a longer letter that starts with, I will do anything it takes to get you back, anything. The thought of us not being together makes me sick. Yeah, so I get the sense that this is a very tough week. It was a very tough week, and then a few days later, I turned 17. This entry is titled My 17th Birthday Disaster. Get ready, guys. This is insane. So my birthday was a couple days before this entry, and I'm just like recounting the night. So I say at 7:30, we all piled into Jay's. Me and Lou and Jer all shared a 60 of Wisers. Heh. It started out real fun. I chilled outside with Jay, we played pool, talked, watched TV. It was so fun. Me and Jer then had a talk, which started the whole conflict. Oh, okay, so it wasn't the 60 of Wisers. It was having a conversation with a friend. Okay. We yelled and got frustrated until Jer said, listen, the reason Katie is switching schools is because you made it hell for her to go to your school. I stormed out. I remember Lou trying to stop me. Coincidentally, just as I was leaving, Katie, plus a few of our friends, were walking up. I walked right up to Katie and told her to go into Jay's because everyone was waiting for her, underlined. Jer followed me for some reason, and then we ended up trying to catch up with Katie, who had run away in tears. I ended up telling her to just come to Jay's, and I did this for one reason, for Jer. And maybe that was shitty of me because I was really uncomfortable with her being there all night. I remember we were alone for a minute or less in Jay's kitchen, and I was being all creepy and said, oh, so you know where everything is, eh? I don't know, but so much happened in that time period, and I was so drunk. Ryan came, Bucket was there. I rested. I can't read what that says. There was a McDonald's run. I remember Gert leaving and Dave giving me a birthday joint. And then I remember crying, telling Jared to leave to be with Katie, him calling me a bitch, slapping Jay, crying to Lou, being in the middle of the road, running from everyone, telling Dave I didn't believe him if he never called me again. I just wanted to get out of there. I think Bucket drove me home after I was trying to hide in the park. I remember when I got home, just curling up and bawling. The hangover I had all day Saturday was 100% not worth it. Oh, and today I got made fun of by everyone and ignored by everyone, and people acted weird. I hate everything now. I want to fall off the face of the earth. Okay, so there's this big thing that, like, I guess it's not that I haven't written about it. It's just that, like, it's so embarrassing. I haven't fully explained it here. Katie, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. Katie is my best friend, and we became friends when she came to my school in grade 2, and we were very close. It's not the first time you're hearing about her. We were very close up until essentially high school, and then we started butting heads, and most of that was on me. Probably like 98% of that was on me, because I was just a fucking green monster of jealousy. I couldn't stand that she was becoming cool. I felt like she was invading my life. Anytime I saw anybody that I considered my friend interact with her, talk to her, hang out with her, I would like get absolutely enraged with jealousy. And I took it out in very passive-aggressive ways, in just regular aggressive ways. And obviously when I drank, anything that I was like kind of concealing or hiding came out. Yeah, it was a really it was a really hard thing to go through, and I'm not at all proud of how I showed up. I think I treated Katie really, really badly. I think a lot of my anger was unchecked, unjustified. I think a lot of other people got caught in the crossfires of my anger. Do I have compassion for myself? Of course. That whole time of life taught me a lot about my emotions, about jealousy, about anger, taught me a lot about friendship. The good news is like Katie and I came back from that and have come back from many other things, you know, and we remain very close friends to this day. But yeah, I did write about, I did write about her a lot in this book. On February 24th, I write, like, basically I go through, I just say, like, my week has been crazy, it's been disappointing and uplifting and convincing and disheartening. I heard a lot, said a lot, denied a lot, admitted a lot. The thing that made my terrible Monday and my long Tuesday seem not so bad is 3 things. Number 1, the conversation I had with Fraser. He called at 6 or so, and we talked for a really long time about everything. He told me to just not worry about it. He said that I've always got him and Genevieve and Gert. He says he thinks that Jer will get over it and that everyone should let the weekend stay the weekend. It was comforting. Okay, so that's friendship, right? Number 2, I had a talk with Lou just right after. I didn't expect it. I had sent him a note on Monday saying I was sorry, but he told me on the phone that I had no reason to be sorry. He also told me that I had every right to flip out, and he wishes he could have helped me more. He says he talked to Jer and that I should say good riddance to those who are mean to me. Number 3, Gert says he's on my side. I told him last night that he's been a really good friend through all of this. I don't know what I would do without Gert. Yeah, so I am getting this confirmation from my friends who are basically like, you know, I think they're worried about me more than anything. I don't think they're actually on my side, but I think this blow up that I had on my birthday was so fiery and so, I mean, obviously I blacked out a bit because there's lots from that night I don't remember. I don't remember how I got home. I don't remember what a lot of people said to me. I think I was in a little bit of alcohol-induced psychosis, perhaps, for a few days after that. These entries are very, like, scattered. I finished this entry by saying, I am lost what to do about Katie, though. I've talked about it with some friends, and they said that, yes, she's been cold, but I'm sure that's because what I did on my birthday really hurt her. I'm sure her and Jared talk about me every chance they get. They have each other to lean on and now team up on me. It saddens me because I thought Katie and I could have worked this out, but she hates my guts. I can see why, and I just don't know what to do. I guess there's just some friendships that you have to let go of. But I never thought it'd be mine and Katie's or mine and Jared's. Katie and I have literally been through everything. Parents, fights, boyfriends, kisses, losses, sickness, strengths, laughs. She means so much to me, and I know for a fact we both thought we'd be friends forever. Yeah, so, like I said, happily report now that, like, Katie and I made it through this, and, yeah, we made it through. But very hard. And I guess, like, you know, jealousy shows up a lot in this part of my life because I'm very jealous, and in turn, Gert is very jealous, and he displays it often. There's an entry a couple days later, February 26th. I say, so far today has been weird. I went over to Fraser's at 1. We just hung out, watched King of the Hill, and played Nintendo. Just me and him. He injured his foot at work and has nothing to do. It was a fun day. Oh, we also played cards. So Fraser is Gert's friend, best friend, bandmate, and also my sister's long-term boyfriend. And he's older than me, and, like, we're literally like brother and sister. Then, as soon as I walked in the door, Gert called from work. I swear to God he did it just to make me feel and look bad. He said, I heard you went to Fraser's today and did him. You were probably lying in his bed naked all day and watched all hour King of the Hill. I just told him I didn't even want to talk to him. What an ass. Like, seriously. Seriously. So there's no entry about resolution. There's no entry on any form, any way, shape, or form of us coming back from that at all. Just that, like, he accused me of, like, being naked on my basically brother-in-law's bed when really we were playing Nintendo. I don't know how we resolved that. I'm assuming we didn't, and we just ignored it, like all the other good things that we do. I am getting completely sick of Gert at this point. I guess I start dipping my toe into, like, okay, so 3 things are happening simultaneously. 1, I'm getting sick of Gert and his bullshit. 2, my friend group that I had they're kind of all mad at me. Not all of them, but a lot of them are mad at me. And 3, I am doing coke more often, and I'm kind of, like, figuring out, okay, these friends don't do coke, these friends do coke, like, so I'm kind of mathing and saying, okay, if I want to get drunk, I'll hang out with these friends. If I want to smoke weed, I'll hang out with these friends. If I want to get high, I'm going to hang out with these friends. So I start hanging out with those friends a bit more and dipping my toe in. So March 9th, I say, I like it how lately you can always see the black of my eyes. Tonight was so relaxing, a relief. I went downtown with Tammy, Cassie, and Sarah. We weren't planning on going with Tammy, but she offered us a ride, and she took us to some cool clothes stores. Sarah tried on dresses for prom. She looked so good in all of them. Okay, so that's not me being jealous, that's me being in love. Then we went to Hardcore and decided what I should get. I decided on an industrial ear piercing. Okay, so apparently we're going downtown to get pierced. I honestly wanted my belly button, but I didn't get it because I didn't know if Gert would like it or not. That kind of bothers me that I did that, but oh well. Ooh, okay, there is a nugget there. Then me and Sarah and Cassie went to Cassie's. My piercing hurt a lot. I flinched and went pale and almost passed out after. But then I had a smoke and did a line and felt better. Okay, so we went into a skeezy tattoo shop that was willing to pierce a bunch of 17-year-olds, hot 17-year-olds. And I probably didn't eat lunch or didn't eat anything. I probably hadn't had any water all day. And then I got my ear pierced, passed out. And at that tattoo shop, the guy tattooing a 17-year-old, obviously girl, gave me a line to perk me back up. So, yeah, that's London, Ontario for you. We had fun at Cassie's. It had been so long since I'd been there, but it was honestly felt good because it was still a little bit familiar. It made me feel better about not having Katie in my life anymore. We sat on her bed and talked about boys and sex and parents. We did lines and had a good time. We even went on a little walk. No, we even went out on a little walk with, I think that says Michelle. It's been a while, but it was nice and it made me feel good. I love my ear. I hope Gert likes it too and isn't scared to lick it. Okay. March 23rd. Things have been twisted, up and down, got my head in a lot of different places, you could say. This is sad. This is like the unraveling, I guess. School has been crappy. I've been smoking more. Katie looks so pretty today. I wish I could have told her. I've been hanging out with Sarah and everyone a lot more. Me and Paul chilled one day at lunch. A few other things happened this week worth mentioning, I guess. I chilled with Sarah, Nikki, and Cassie after school. We were going to go downtown, but the weather was shit, so we went to Westmount. Me and Cassie and Sarah went over to Ferris's for a bit. It was fun. They were all looking at dresses, and damn, Sarah looked so good. Then Cassie and I went to her house, sniffed, blow, and played Crazy 8 Countdown. It was fun talking about sex and stories and everything. Either way, I feel better all the time after I do coke. So that entry right next to this one. March 25th. Spring fever times a million. I helped Dad with shit outside all day, and then we made a snowman with a closed peg nose and pebble eyes. It's like so up and down. It's crazy. It's crazy. So yes, I am definitely doing a little bit more, well, I'm doing a lot more drugs, and I'm sort of transitioning friend groups, and then something happens. It was so awful, without words, tears and screams and terrible feelings. I need to give this person a name. Let's say Alice. Alice stole my binder. It doesn't sound like it was that bad of a thing, but just the whole situation was terrible. It went missing from my locker the other day, and Alice said, "Someone is missing their binder." So I knew it was her. After I calmed down a bit, I realized all the shit that was really wrong. Katie knew about it. She didn't say anything. And they saw everything I wrote. I cried at school, then I smoked, then I cried. I went to Janelle's after school because she was nice and invited me. I don't know what to do. I feel so empty and just plain sad. So yeah, I was being bullied. I was being bullied by this girl named Alice. We'll name her. May 19th, a few days later, I say. So all this shit with Alice is bullshit. That's all anyone has to say to me. It's bullshit. And don't let her get to you. And it's not so much her that gets to me, but it's seeing her and Katie together. Jay informed me that he caught Alice burning my binder in his backyard. There's just so much shit. On Tuesday, I went to the Stratford Theatre on a class trip. It was okay, but today I didn't go to school. I actually couldn't go to school. I was feeling so low about my future, and I was just feeling the struggle weight of the last few days. Sometimes I just want to fall off the earth. More often than not, I just want to fall off the earth. Yeah. Okay, I'm nearly at the end of this fucking chaotic journal. Okay, I've read the final entry of this journal, May 25th, 2005, and all I can give a content note is for PMS. Okay, well, and mental illness, for sure. I'm gonna give you the Cliff Notes because I read this and was just like, oh my gosh. So basically, we were in the car with some friends, and I took a bite of Gern's burger. I know, how dare me. And he flipped out, and I went home and wrote this. The main reason I got mad at him a lot of the time isn't even his doing. It's because he'll do something and I'll blow it out of proportion and then get all mad at myself because it makes me feel lame and bitchy and typical. I never wanted to be that bitchy girlfriend, and I got mad at every little thing, and who gets mad at every little thing, and now I am. And I think about what's probably going on in his mind and how he probably bitches about it to people, to his guy friends, and that's totally not fair. It's not fair to me, even though it's not fair of me to even think about asking him to just deal with me when I get like that by being so nice to me as possible. And I don't know what I want to do about it now. I see two paths clearly in my mind. The first, how it always goes, makes me happy to think about how next time I see him, I'll say sorry and explain it to him, and then actually explain how now that I know what's wrong with me, I'll work on it and will know that I'll have my own time on Saturday at Janelle's and that it'll all work out if we try. But part of me doesn't see that because of how cold we are when we fight and how our makeups just work like that. Passionate fights mean passionate love, question mark, question mark. I guess the other thing I see is me being sad when I see him. I guess the other thing I see is me being sad when I see him. I imagine us being shy and awkward and not hugging and talking a bit, and then saying maybe it's best we should go on a break. And I don't know if that would mean a break or a break up. I don't want to break up or even a long break. I need an outlet, like Fraser is to him. I need someone like he has to be able to go on a drive and get high and talk about guy stuff and then come home to me. When we do that, we're okay. But I just don't have anyone like that. Not anymore. I fucked that up. And I don't even have a job to just be something to focus on without anything else. And usually when I use the outlets, I do have like friends, Sarah, Shannon, Jenny, Jay, we talk about Gert. So it doesn't even work. I don't know. On a side note, it's strange how much Gert and I have changed. I think he contemplates our future more than he used to. I swear, if he thought I'd be a cranky old wife when I was nice to him in the beginning, I can't imagine what he thinks of me now. And I think about our future too, how will it work when we never have a reason to miss each other? Is that a bad thing to say? Sometimes we are just so solid, and we have these moments, whether they're after sex or we're across the table from each other or in a crowd or on a long, slow drive. Sometimes we just look at each other and smile. And sometimes it's just me that does this, or sometimes it's just him, or sometimes we both do it and we break it with a, you're cute, or I like you. And I live for those times because they remind me that we're in love and they remind me how we were before all this shit happened. But sometimes I just feel so not good with him. When we fight or when he's mean or sometimes when we're just annoyed with each other, and when I try to remind myself that that's the kind of thing we just have to get past, but sometimes that's exhausting after a while. Gert probably just thinks I'm getting like this again, and maybe I am, because ever so often I remember the beginning of us and I miss it. Like the first time I went to his house, our first shower, the first time we fell asleep in bed and woke up to each other, the first time I snuck him in. And I just realized how all these things are normal now. Not boring, just normal. And I just miss the feeling of them when they were so exciting and made me feel so nervous and crazy about him at the same time. I'm just cranky maybe, being ridiculous, making it hard for us to be the way I want and then blaming it on him. And I want to work on it, I do. So I guess all I have to decide is whether or not I can do that now and make up, or if I have to figure my shit out by myself for a while and then we can go back to how we were. I hope he wants at least one of those things, because when I asked him tonight if he still wanted to be my boyfriend, he didn't sound so sure. Okay, I cannot wait to put this book down because, oh my god, wow, it's so crazy. That might be the craziest journal I've read yet. What a time. What a time to be alive. Okay, because I talked quite a bit in this episode about suicidal ideation, I thought I would read a poem that I wrote, a very dark and twisty poem. It's called When I'm Gone. And here it is, guys. This is another A, B, C, B rhyming poem. Here goes. If you wake up tomorrow and find that I'm dead, these are the things that I wish I would have said. To my dear sister, I love you. You are everything to me. You made me who I am today, and you set my spirits free. To my mother, I am sorry. This must be the worst day of your life, but you should know I admired you for being a great mother and wife. To Daddy, the war is over. You made me strive to be something great, but it was all so very draining. It was all your fault. It turned to hate. To Katie and Jason, I'll miss you. Our traditions and memories will be fondly thought of, and you were the precious ones that I'll watch from up above. To Cassie, I have faith in you. Don't let anyone stand in your way. To Amanda, I wish you luck. I hope you are happy for the rest of your days. To Fraser and Jer, I'll never forget you. You always put a smile on my face. To Bucket and Lou, I'll always remember. for you gave me memories that death can't erase. To Jay, I forgive you. You are the greatest guy I knew. I hope you find a girl to teach you everything I learned from you. To Al, I owe you everything. I'll be in your debt forever. You always said you'd see me in hell, so we'll party when you get here. To Graham and Dave, keep in touch. With you, it always was one or the other. To Shannon and Alex, beware. You never knew when to give up on each other. To Elise, fuck you. Wow. I never thought you'd be someone I despised, but you threw away a 9-year friendship. So you know what? Likewise. To Kelly, I have nothing to say to you except that you made me want to die, but I find misery isn't worth it. Life's too short to be pissed off all the time. To Corey, ooh, shit. Haven't heard that name in a while. To Corey, I still want you. I have so many regrets thinking of what I didn't do. I'd leave heaven in a second if it meant another chance with you. I thank everyone who was a friend and everyone who was a foe. You all made me change and you all made me grow. If there's a message to leave, it's to not grow up too fast. Prepare for your future, but hold on to your past. So now that I'm gone, don't cry, 'cause I'm free. As you leave my funeral, please smoke a joint in remembrance of me. Encore, encore, encore. That was pretty bad. That was today's episode. I am like shook. I'm shook and I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? I need to go take a nap. I need to go get a hug. I probably need to have a shower. Holy fuck. Yeah, I guess next week I'll bring you the next journal. Hopefully it gets a little easier. Spoiler alert, I don't think it does. It doesn't get easier for a long, long time. When does it get easier? I mean, if I'm being completely real, it doesn't get easier until I'm like 36 and get sober. 37 and I get sober. But there's pockets of ease in the years to come. I'm like trying to decide if that's true. Yeah, I think there's pockets of ease in the years in between. Basically, I have the next like difficult time with Gerndt. My mom leaves. I go to college. I go to Australia. I meet my long-term partner. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it gets easier for a while, guys, so sorry. I am going to be breaking up the next couple episodes with a couple guests, so stay tuned, and thank you so much for listening. If you are interested in being a guest on this podcast and you have journals to read, please get a hold of me. My email address is yoda@thedoulaofwords.com. You can also find me at